Proclamation.
What proclamation?
What?
Just gotta read it, so you
All right.
accept it.
All right. Call Lamar's City Council regular meeting to order Tuesday, April 19th, 12 p.m. Could we have, or no, please join me in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we have roll call, Dave?
Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Recklinko?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone in the chamber today to our meeting. Dennis and Bev from Mars Sentinel, Dennis from Clem, and especially you people that are watching our council meeting over television. We've got a couple announcements to make before we go into the meeting, so Mike, I'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm wearing the hat as the president of the Lamar's Area Betterment Foundation, and as I hope to do, at least monthly, is provide some updates on how our campaign is going in support of various community betterment projects that we're all aware of. You know that unanimously, all our banks in town have stepped up with significant contributions, which we very much appreciate. And now some contacts with local businesses are now also bearing fruit. The new one to tell you about today is from our own Cruise and Cruise here in town, a donation of $10,000 a year for the next, was it 7 or 70? Which, I think it's 7. Someone drew a 0 on there, I know, it wasn't me. But very, very generous donation for a smaller enterprise like that, and we very much appreciate it. It's a cue and a clue of the activities that our campaign executive committee, which is the foundation board itself, plus some other members, we're going through our training and preparation to make contacts with small businesses, individuals, large businesses, and everyone in between as our work continues. The foundation board met this morning, and we began some of that training and review of our campaign informational material that will be key to telling the right story for everyone. So there's my update. Is there any questions of me?
Thank you, Rex. Appreciate it. Okay.
With that resounding silence, I'll get back to work at my other job.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
The other announcement I have is a proclamation on Arbor Day. And Arbor Day is designated April 29th, 2016, but I'm going to read the proclamation today. Whereas trees are one of Iowa's most valuable natural resources that clean out our air, water, help to conserve our soil and energy resources, provide critical wildlife habitat, yield bountiful outdoor recreation opportunities, and make our communities a more pleasant place to live and work. And whereas insects, diseases, severe weather, pollutants have damaged and continue to threaten our trees, creating the need for reforestation and management programs toward ensuring the future of Iowa's trees and forests. And whereas each year during Arbor Day, the people of Lamar's pay special attention to the benefits of our trees and dedicate themselves to the planting and management of all Iowa trees and forests. And now, therefore, I, Dick Kirchhoff, Mayor of the City of Lamar's, do hereby proclaim April 29th, 2016 as Arbor Day in Lamar's, Iowa, and urge our citizens to participate in tree planting and maintenance programs that will ensure more beautiful Iowa and to nurture, protect, and wisely use Iowa trees. Dated this 19th day of April 2016. Arbor Day's here. It's coming.
Very good.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Motion made to approve the agenda Motion been made and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Today, we've got a number of hearings. The first one is the 2016 asphalt overlay project. At its March 15th, 2016 meeting, the council set this as the date and time to hear public comment on the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated costs for the 2016 asphalt overlay. Project is as follows. There's 4 blocks on First Avenue Southwest, 3 blocks First Avenue Northwest, 7 blocks Second Avenue Southwest, 3 blocks Fifth Street Southeast, 2 blocks Fifth Street Southwest, 2 blocks Sixth Street Southwest, 2 blocks Seventh Street Southwest. That's a total of 23 blocks that we will be asphalt overlaying this year. The bids will be received and opened on May 12th, 2016 at 11 a.m. The recommendation is the mayor, that I'm going to, at this time, open the hearing and ask if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the project, to adopting the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated costs. I will ask once again if there's any written or oral objections or comments to this plan or specifications. If not, at this time, I'm going to close the meeting or the hearing, and I will share with you that the proposed schedule is the public hearings on April 19th, which is today. The bid letting is on May 12th, 2016. The award construction contract is May 17th, 2016. We're going to begin construction June 2016, and hopefully end construction August 2016. The financial impact of this is the road use tax will fund these projects. Any questions from the council members?
Scott, did we discuss if the contractor's in town, the awarded contractor, would we also look at maybe doing some additional blacktopping, asphalting in the cemetery?
Yes, you did ask me to add that to the project.
So that's not
I
reflected
can
in this
either
list?
add it ahead of the bid, or I can add it after, because we'll have a unit price per ton.
Okay, that's probably the most economical way to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's a good question.
None of this has started yet, right?
no.
Because what's the digging up on Second Avenue?
Well, I'm
Southwood.
sorry, that part, we're preparing any settlement of the underlying concrete by doing some full-depth patchwork.
Okay, I was just curious what was going on there. Okay, I was curious.
Yeah, you must be speaking of like on Second Avenue Southwest.
Southwest, right there, yes.
Yeah, that's, we're fixing the settlement so that when the overlay goes over, we don't have a problem with the underlying.
To his question, is it beneficial for us to put it in front of the bid or leave it open and just say you're in town? Can you know, what's the best?
We've done it both ways. I can add it since we're ahead of schedule here. I can add it. I can add it to the bid.
Probably.
But if you add it, then we do it. If we don't add it, we've got the ability to go 20% over at the unit price that we get, right?
That is true.
So I would not add it.
Okay.
And then that way, if the price ends up being a little higher and we want to push it off till fall or next
Sure.
year, we can do that. If
Okay.
it's in the bid, then it's got to be done.
Okay. On the unit price, excuse me, can road use be used for the cemetery or not? Is that another?
Yes.
It can. Okay, good enough. Good enough. Then I'm with
And
Rex on it.
Rex's 20% is by the general conditions of our specifications. 20% can be added without any adjustment to the unit price, is what he's referring to. You can add more than 20%, but it gives the contractor the ability to adjust the unit price. That's all.
Okay, does that answer your questions, John?
Yep. Absolutely.
I see Rex left here, but I would make a motion adopting resolution number 16-11 to adopt plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of costs for the 2016 asphalt overlay project with the intent of potentially adding some additional asphalting in the cemetery, city cemetery.
Second to the motion.
Motion made and second, adopting resolution number 16-11 to adopt plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of costs for the 2016 asphalt overlay project, adding the additional for the cemetery. Do we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Goodchild?
Yes.
Lick?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Rexinger?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion establishing May 12, 2016 at 11 a.m. as the date and time to receive and open bids for the 2016 asphalt overlay projects, with said bids to be considered at the May 17, 2016 council meeting.
Second to the motion.
Motion made and second, establishing May 12, 2016, 11 a.m. as the date and time to be received and open bids for the 2016 asphalt overlay projects with said bids to be considered at the May 17th, 2016 council meeting. Can we have, I'd entertain a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next hearing is on the 2016 water main improvement projects. At the March 15, 2016 meeting, the council established this as a date and time to hear public comment on plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated of costs for 2016 water main improvement. The projects are as follows. 2016 water, number one is Highway 3 to 9th Avenue West to 400 feet west of the Floyd River. 2016 water, number two, Highway 3 West, 16th Avenue West to Highway 75 bypass. Number three is Hawkeye Avenue and Blue Diamond Drive. Number four is a Hawkeye Avenue and 18th Street South. And number five is a Hawkeye Avenue, 8th and 6th Street Southwest. Excuse me, the bids will be received and opened on May 12th, 2016 at 2 p.m. Plans were previously reviewed with the council as number one, the PSS Incorporated has performed all topography, surveying, and drafting plans. Number two is the city engineer and water superintendent performed design. Number three is assistant city administrator prepared IDNR construction permits. Number four, the water superintendent will solicit material bids. Number five is the city administrator will obtain installation bids. Number six is the water department staff will oversee and inspect construction. And number seven, SUDA's standard specifications will govern the work. At this time, I'm going to open the hearing and ask if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the project. I will ask once again if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the project. Hearing none, I declare the hearing closed. The administration recommends the following schedule. The public hearing is April 19th, which is today. The bid letting is May 12th, 2016. The award construction contract is May 17th, 2016. Begin construction May of 2016, and hopefully end the construction in August 2016. The financial impact of this project, all 5 locations will be funded with the urban renewal TIF revenue in accordance with the council approval capital projects list on December 1st, 2015. I would entertain a motion, Mr.
No,
Stozy.
questions first. Are those 6 separate contracts, or are we awarding them all at one?
Could be 6 separate, they're gonna be in separate sections.
Okay, and can they bid on each one of them separately and then bid together on all of them?
Yes,
Because there's gotta be some economies of scale of somebody coming to town and do them all, right?
yes, the bid proposal form will be set up that they can bid on each individually,
Okay.
and there will be a catch-all if they wanted to tie all the sections together
Okay,
and give us a lump sum price for all of it.
perfect.
And then it'll be your choice as to which one to award.
Okay.
Did the specifications include fire hydrants, or do we do that separately?
It's included.
Okay.
At this time, I'm going to open the hearing and ask if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the project. And I'll ask once again if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the project. If not, I'm going to declare the hearing closed. Motion?
Motion adopting.
1612.
1612, adopt plan specification form of contract estimate of cost for 2016 water main improvement project.
Second.
Motion made and second, adopting resolution number 1612 to adopt plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the 2016 water main improvement projects. Could we have a roll call on that, Ben?
Yes.
Rexvinkel?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Motion passed. And a motion establishing, can we have a motion on that?
It should be 12.
Motion establishing May 12, 2016 at 2 p.m. is the date and time to receive and open bids for the 2016 water main improvement project, and said bids considered at the May 17, 2016 council meeting.
Second.
Motion made and second, establishing May 12, 2016 at 2 p.m. as the date and time to receive open bids for the 2016 water main improvement project, with said bids to be considered at the May 17, 2016 meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion opposed, motion carried. Excuse me. The next item is the airport hangar leases. At its April 5th, 2016 meeting, the council set this as the date and time to hear public comment regarding proposal to revise the current airport hangar lease with Wells Enterprises and consider similar airport hangar leases for Pat Feenstra as well as other future tenants. Attached is the generic lease with standard language. At this time, I'm going to open the hearing and ask if there's any written or oral objections or comments to these leases.
Mayor, I have.
Yes, go ahead.
I have an addition. On the Exhibit B that's attached to your agenda, following the language of paragraph 19B, we need the language, city shall have first right of refusal to purchase said building and shall be given 60 days to consider said proposal. That's only, you guys discussed that at the last meeting, if you recall, when you established the public hearing. That language, I missed it. I forgot to include it.
Any other questions on it?
We do have a airport advisory committee meeting scheduled for this Thursday at 7:30 in the morning. So whatever is decided here will be brought into that meeting on Thursday.
Make a motion approving revised current airport hangar lease as amended in Exhibit B, 19B, for Wells Enterprises, Inc., and airport hangar leases for Pat Feenstra as well as other future tenants.
Second to the motion.
Motion made.
I think you've got to close the hearing.
I was gonna say, we gotta close.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Is there any other questions in regard to the comments in regard to this hearing? If not, I'll close the hearing at this time. Thank you, Rex.
Want me to make the motion again?
No, we're good, okay.
Motion made and second, approving a revised current airport hangar lease for Wells Enterprises Incorporated and airport hangar leases for Pat Feenstra as well as other future tenants as amended in 19B. Is that right?
Yep, in Exhibit B.
And Exhibit B. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the last hearing is easements on the new police building site. At its April 5th, 2016 meeting, the council set this as a date and time to hear public comment regarding the proposal to waiver and release all restrictive covenants and easements which have acquired over the years in whichever forms on the property purchased for the new police department building on Business 75 South, formerly the CSS property, 847 Hawkeye Avenue Southwest. At this time, I'm going to open the hearing and ask if there's any written or oral objections or comments to these leases. I will ask once again if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the leases. If not, at this time, I'm going to close the hearing. Staff recommends vacating all easements on the newly acquired police building site. The financial impact is all the cost associated with updating any plats or the recording of any changes shall become part of the Lamar's Police Department capital project. Any questions from any of the council?
Vacating these easements doesn't adversely affect any adjacent property owners in any way or anything like that, does it? I'm thinking total sitting there, across the street, there's, I mean, I'm just, you know,
You're only enacting the vacation of these easements on property that you, the city, own. Now, those same easements have utilities in them as of this hour, and those utilities need to be relocated. However, it's public property, being the city property, so we've got plenty of public property that has utilities running on them without easement, namely 77 miles of right-of-way. So I don't view it to be a problem.
okay.
Thanks, Bert.
Motion adopting resolution 16-13 on the waiver and release of all restricted covenants and easements within the newly acquired police building site on Business Highway 75 South, formerly CSS.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded adopting resolution number 16-13 on the waiver and release of all restricted covenants and easements within the newly acquired police building site on Business Highway 75 South, formerly the CSS building. Do we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Rex Winkel.
Yes.
Knapp.
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Wick.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, at this time, we're going into a general discussion. And in our general discussion program, we're asking anybody that got some good comments about the city or got concerns to step to the podium, state their name and address, and the council cannot make any decisions at this time on the proposal, but they're always willing to listen to what the concerns are. Do we have anybody in the chamber? Being none, we'll move on. Under general discussion, John?
Nothing, Ron.
Clark?
I have
Steve?
one thing, two things. Number one, on regard to the condition of the golf course, it is a good condition that it's been in this early in the season that I can remember. And the second thing is thumbs up to Brian and Doug at the course for their innovative way they're trying to gain membership. I think that has gone well. I know with the incentive that they've given the members to get a new member to join, they're up 15 to almost 20 new members already. So that was a good thing.
Thank you, Steve, for revealing that. That's real true. That program is really working.
Yep.
Case in point, I was sharing with Brian and one of them, somebody had gotten a new member and his wife to come in and join our golf course, and they turned right around and went and found another set of friends or another wife and husband come in, and that one joined off of that program. So the program's really working, and boy, you are right on our course. It's really in great shape. Thanks. Rex?
Nothing today.
Nothing, thank you.
Thumbs up award, emails? Nobody?
Okay.
Consent items. All items listed under consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today, we've got 6 of them. First one is approval of April 5th, 2016 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of bills of period ending 4/15/16. Number 3 is a monthly financial statement for 2016. Number 4 is a request to close the street, which is involved with the Chamber of Commerce. Number 5 is the urban revitalization tax exemption request. And number 6 is the IDOT agreement for maintenance and repair of primary roads and municipalities. Do any of the council members have any questions before we vote that they want to talk about on these? If not, I'd entertain a
Motion to
motion.
approve consent items 1 through 6.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to approve items 1 through 6. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to the action items. The first one is fiscal year ending 2015 comprehensive annual financial report. The council has received a copy of the fiscal year ending 2015 comprehensive and annual financial report. Representative Williams and Company will be at the meeting to discuss the report, and I believe Graham's here, aren't you? Yeah. Graham, I'm going to turn it over to you, and hope we made some money, and we're
Scott,
good and strong.
Steve Schuster.
Should I go into my spiel here, or do we have a change in the agenda? But, okay. I'll keep things pretty brief here, as I know you've got things on the agenda and probably more interesting things to discuss here. But, yeah, we are presenting the FY15 auditor's report. You know, basically what I'll do, I'll run through and hit a few high points. Feel free to stop me with any questions or hit me at the end or any combination. Be happy to go through those. You know, number one thing, I guess, is on page 4, and kind of what the main impetus of this whole engagement is for us to provide an opinion on these financials. And in the opinion paragraph on page 4 is where we put our opinion on them and say, in our opinion and those of the auditors of the hospital, which the hospital is a component unit of the city that also gets pulled into this report, that the financial statements referred to above and contained in this document are fairly stated in all material respects. So that's a clean, unmodified opinion, and that's what you're after. So no issues, adverse opinions, disclaimers, anything like that there. So positive for sure. Starting on page 6 is what's called the management's discussion and analysis. That I kind of refer to a lot of times as the cliff notes of the financials. If you don't want to scroll through all 80 some odd pages, but just want to hit a few high points, get some comparative information and some narrative from city staff on why some of those fluctuations happen between years, it's a good place to go to hit some of those high points and get a little bit of briefing on kind of where the city's at and what moves did we make from FY14 to 15 up, down, and some of the categorical areas, and then some narrative on why those happened. So some good information there for sure. And I think the only other thing I'll point out, and I know is something that city staff has tracked, is on page 12. At the bottom is one of the kind of overall health indicators that a lot of the cities use, and I know the city being no different, is the number of days of expenditures and unassigned fund balance in the general fund. And you'll see that as of June 30, 2015, the unassigned fund balance in the general fund was approximately $1.5 million, which represented about 68 days of expenditures in that general fund unassigned fund balance. Compared to FY14, it was 86 days. A few things working into that. One, as you can see in that same paragraph, that the general fund balance did decrease overall by about $340,000. And kind of the phenomena you have there kind of compounds things. When your expenditures go up, it reduces your number of days from day one as far as that coverage, and then to have a decrease in fund balance, you're going to see the number of days decrease. I mean, at 68 days, is that a little lower than we'd like to see it? Yes. I mean, basically what we want to see is we'd like to see, 3 to 4 months worth of days fund balance in that unassigned balance, basically to get us through property tax payment schedule. We're going to get our big payments in March and September, so we want to have enough funds on hand to make sure cash flow isn't an issue in between those large cash flow dates. So, is it at an alarmingly low number? No, but, I think as city staff knows, would like to see that work up a little bit, however. So, I just wanted to point that out. Otherwise, starting on page 16 is where the actual financial statements start. The first items you see on page 16 are what are called the government-wide statements. That's where we basically take all the operations of the city and lump them into 2 columns, so it's very high level. Includes items such as the infrastructure, brick, mortar, and all the capital items of the city. So it's more of a overall financial health kind of an indicator, not so much where we at on a day-to-day operating basis. So won't spend any time there. I think where I will stop here quickly is on pages 21 and 22. And that's the fund level financial statements. And over on page 21, you'll see the general fund, and like we already pointed out, you know, we did have a decrease in fund balance in the general fund in FY15. Like I say, more than anything, I think there's a few items going on there, you know, just rising operating costs, timing of a few projects and a few things like that. I say, I don't think anything alarming, you know, just not a trend we want to see happening every year, of course. The other decreases in the TIF, debt service, capital projects fund are more of a timing type of situation where funds are built up in, for instance, capital projects fund, and then when the project's undertaken, you know, the dollars are spent, which in this case, like the building improvement fund, you know, that project has been undertaken with the public works and starting to be in the public safety buildings, and to be funded by transfers from other funds as well as some bond proceeds down the line here. So, you know, nothing in those decreases are alarming or should be anything to be concerned of, just more of a timing situation. From there is more detailed fund information on the utility fund, starting on page 24. So if you're looking to drill into more information on how did the water fund do, how did the sewer fund do, started on pages 24 and 25, continuing through about page 30, you can get some more detailed information there. And then starting on page 33 is the notes to the financial statements, and that's where there's a bunch of really detailed information as well on the city's accounting policies, different transactions the city's entered into, very detailed information on their outstanding debt, makeup of their capital projects, and capital assets, and what the composition of those are. And so if you're looking to, you know, drill into any one area, a great place to go, or if looking for a way to put yourself to sleep at night, probably a good place to peruse as well. So, but a lot of information depending on how detailed you want to get included there. I think one of the last items I want to quickly discuss is you'll have noticed on those enterprise statements starting on page 24 and on the government-wide statements on page 16, we had some prior period adjustments that were posted to the beginning fund balance in those financial statements. And what that was is the city and every other governmental entity in the country had to adapt GASB 68, it was called. And what that new accounting standards did was it made it to where all governmental entities had to recognize as a liability any unfunded portion of any pension plans they were participating in, whether it was a privately funded operated pension plan they had internally or some kind of a cost-sharing multiple employer type of pension pool, which is what the city participates in, or AKA IPERS. And so if you will flip back to page 73 is kind of where it gets started. This GASB added about 10 pages of new disclosure and information to the audit report from past years. But what happened is, as you can see kind of towards the middle of page 73, is IPERS as a overall plan was about 87.6% funded at the end of June 14, which means basically they had 87% of the funds on hand that if every state-covered employee in existence walked out the door on June of 14, they could have paid out 87% of the funds due to them, which I believe at that point that made them about the 6th or 7th best financially or best funded plan in the country. So I mean, that I think they recommend between 80 to 82% is what kind of the industry norm is in that area, and IPERS is 87%. So they're very healthy, but we're talking about some very large dollars here. So the 13% of IPERS that's not funded, the city's share of that, excluding the hospital, is about 0.03% as far as based on the overall annual contributions that the city makes to IPERS is roughly 0.03% of all the annual contributions that go to IPERS. But when we talk about that, right, and that's at the top of page 73 there, so that 0.03% equates to about $1.3 million that would be the city's liability if every IPERS covered employee walked on June of 14. Now, is that going to happen? No. And is that $1.3 million liability something the city needs to be concerned with? I mean, is it good that the citizens are aware of it and it's being presented? Yes. But as far as day-to-day operations of the city, nothing's going to change for the last 10 years and probably forever, but for sure 10 years because we had to present it in here. The city has made the required state code mandated IPERS, withdrawal from employee wages, and then the state code mandated match on top of that every year on time. And going forward, that won't change. The state will mandate what the required contribution rates are. The applicable percentage will be withheld from employee wages. The city will match the applicable percentage, and things will go on as normal. I think kind of the impetus behind this new accounting standard was your Detroit, state of Illinois, state of California that made some promises that they couldn't keep, you know, and instead of being 87% funded, we're somewhere well south of 50% funded, and the financial burden to get up to where they need to be is going to be enormous. So I think that's what's behind it, but the fortunate part is to, you know, most of the governments in the state of Iowa, it's going to be maybe a little bit of an eye-opener to see what that number dollars up to, but it's not going to change anything day-to-day or even on an annual budgeting standpoint. But it definitely changes the financial statements. I mean, we went from June 30 of 14, when we jumped over to July 1 of 14 and had to implement the standard, we threw about another $2.5 million of liability on the books. So, I mean, from a you know, just operationally looking at the financials and seeing what our fund balance amounts are, it made a significant impact. Now, I think bonding agencies are going to be, you know, pretty cognizant of this going on and will, you know, to date, I haven't heard of any negative impact because I think as a whole, your state of Iowa governments are going to be in much better shape than a lot of those around the country. So I think I haven't been aware of any negative bonding impact as a result of this yet, because it is affecting every government in the country, not just Lamar's Iowa, not just Iowa governments, but all governments around the country are having to do this same implementation of presenting and recognizing these respective liabilities. So, and that's just the IPERS piece. The city also participates in municipal fire and police for the police retirees, which is a separate standalone plan from IPERS. And if you see on page 77, then the city also is recognizing about another $1.3 million of liability for the unfunded portion of MFPRSI, which very similar to IPERS, you know, was 86% funded as of June 14, healthy. But again, we're talking about a pretty significant pension liability here, and even with 13 point some odd percent of it, and the city's portion being 3,500ths of that, of 1%, equates to a pretty significant net pension unfunded liability. Again, same song and dance as IPERS. Nothing will change on a budgeting standpoint or what's required to be contributed, and probably won't unless there's some unforeseeable change in market conditions or things like that that'll change that funding status. So probably more than you wanted to know, but a pretty significant impact from a financial statement standpoint. Just wanted everybody to kind of be aware of what we had going on there. So otherwise, following that are some combining schedules where we take a lot of the smaller funds of the city, combine those that carry forward to the front of the document to get reported as the other non-major governmental funds, excuse me. So if you're looking to drill down on any specific construction project fund or some of the smaller special revenue funds, you can find the activity and the outcome of the FY15 activity in those combining statements. But otherwise, I think I will stop there, but feel free if you have any questions, be happy to answer those, or after you had a while to digest, feel free to funnel any of those through Bev or Scott, and they can get those to us, and we'd be happy to answer them as well. So,
Any questions for Graham about our financial report? Thank you, Graham.
thank you.
We appreciate it.